from the Excellence Empire, and for those of you that don't know, I am a mindset coach here in Sydney, Australia. So today I thought I'd get a bit personal with you guys and talk about depression, some of the causes of depression. I'll let you guys in on my experience with depression, how I overcame it, some of the things that I went through, and how now I feel like the most happiest girl in the world. So the reason why I can talk about this now is because it has been a very long time since I suffered from it. It no longer affects me, and ever since that time in my life I have worked with people who have suffered from depression or are still going through depression, and there's even been some circumstances where I work with people who are just ready to end their life. So even though I'm no medical expert, psychologist, psychiatrist, I have gone down this path, and believe me, I understand how so difficult and so hard it is to come out from. Some people define depression as a severe illness where you have to be hospitalized and medicated in order to get through it, and for some circumstances and certain situations this may be the case. But for me, I don't believe that you have to be hospitalized or medicated in order for it to be treated. Depression is usually a feeling of overwhelm, extreme sadness and hopelessness, and a high percentage of us all the way around the world at some point in our life, we have all experienced depression, and we all have our own different way of how we deal with it and how we try and get over it. So the sooner it's acknowledged and addressed, the sooner you can start to have your life back and start rebuilding the life that you deserve for yourself. So a very long time ago, in my early 20s was when I was diagnosed with depression, and I always used to try and hide this from everyone. I would always be happy in front of everyone, and usually when I'm by myself, that's when it would really hit me. And I knew that there was just something inside of me that I wasn't happy with myself. I was playing the victim for a very long time. I was looking for happiness externally and through other people. I felt like I need other people's approval and validation in order for me to have any significance. And I tried so hard to be what everyone else wanted me to be, the type of person they wanted me to be, and I had so many different personas for all the different type of people that I was around at the time. So I felt like I could never really just be myself, and if I did, I wouldn't know who that was. So eventually, over some time, it got really bad to the point where I ended up taking a lot of pills, and I ended up getting really sick, that my body started to shut down slowly over time, and I went to several doctors after this because it felt like it was something more than depression. And I got diagnosed with so many different things, like I had anorexia, and another one was I had something wrong with my thyroid or something. So I was put on all these different medications, and nothing was really working for me. So I ended up being in hospital for a few weeks, and I remember every single day when I was at the hospital I would go to the chapel there, and I remember going in there by myself, kneeling down and just praying to God to take my life. I would tell him that I would so gladly trade the places of someone else who is like sick or dying, and because other people need them. No one needs me here. So I was begging and I was crying just for him to please take my life. So I ended up developing a mentality that my life had no purpose, that I was insignificant, that I wasn't wanted or needed, that I was never going to amount to anything in my life, and I pretty much just had given up all hope at that point. I ended up carrying that mindset with me for a very long time, which is what kept me depressed and sick for a very long time. I even tried taking antidepressants for I can't even remember how long, but they actually made me worse. Some people, I think, they have a good reaction to, but for a lot of people that I know that have experienced this, that have taken antidepressants, and it also depends on which antidepressant you're taking as well, it has actually made them more depressed than it has good. I don't know how that works, but it just didn't seem to help. What some people don't seem to understand is just how real this psychological problem is. And so many of us, like me at one point, I didn't know who I could turn to, who I could speak to, or if anyone would actually really care. And I had the mentality like, you know, no one understands what I'm going through. No one could possibly understand what I'm going through because they're not going through it. I'm going through it. So how the hell will they understand what I'm going through? So I've had a few situations where I work with people, and especially for my situation, you know, who at some point in their life they're just ready to end their life. And sometimes it has even been in the heat of moment where someone just springs it on me, and you know, they're just ready to end their life, they're ready to leave. And what I see in most people's eyes, and what I knew for myself, is that they don't really want to end their life. Like, it's a big cry for help the way that they are. They're so stuck in their mindset. They're looking for someone to understand them, to care for them, to pretty much sort of save them from whatever it is that's controlling their mind. And sometimes people honestly believe that there is no other option but to end their life, and they're like, this is it, this is what I need to do, this is what's going to solve everything. And they don't realize just how amazing life is because they haven't given themselves the chance to see just how amazing that it can be, and they don't see the possibilities that could be for their future. So what I noticed in myself, and what I have noticed with people that have experienced depression and or still going through depression, is the lack of self-love and the self-care that they have for themselves. We get so caught up in our own negative mindset that sometimes we just need someone, anyone, pretty much to help us and guide us back to our happy path again. So at the time you just feel as though, you know, something's taking over your mind and your body, that you have absolutely no control over what's happening and what's going on around you or what will happen to you. But when we are in that negative mind state and being all depressed and sad, we, you know, let our emotions cloud our judgments, and we can't see that we are the key to the lock that we keep locked from happiness to come in, for any possibility to come in, for any joy to come in. So we need to start learning to unlocking that key within us in order to let possibilities to be able to come in. See, our mind is usually just programmed to react to things without really taking a moment to step back and really evaluating the situation for what it really is. And we just simply react to things simply out of habit. And what we realize is that we can't control things that happen to us externally, but we can control the things that happen to us internally. And one of the key things is the power of our mind. See, our mind is automatically programmed to simply just react to things without really taking a step back and evaluating the situation. And this usually just happens to us just out of habit. We usually just react to things without thinking. And what we begin to realize is we can't control things that happen to us externally, but what we can control is what happens to us internally, and that starts with the mind. And when used right, it can be a really powerful tool that can be life-changing for you, the way you see things, your perspective on life. Once you learn to really master and control the power of the mind, you will see amazing results for you and your life. So how I got over depression, it really took me to really reach rock bottom, to really think and stop and realize what's going on. And I realized something has to change, and I was so desperate for that change. I just didn't know what it was. And you know, as I say, when you've finally reached rock bottom, there's only one way to go, and that is up. So I stuck to that mentality in hopes that something will change for me. I've seen counselors, I've seen psychologists, and yes, I've even seen psychiatrists. I've been put on suicide watch, and for me, I didn't really find that these things actually really helped me. Like, it helped to be able to talk to someone, but I just didn't really feel as though that I had any practical solutions. And that's not to say that it won't help you, because everyone is programmed, in a different way, and we all react to things, and some things that work for me may work for you and vice versa. So it all just depends on finding a solution that is best for you. So I don't believe in taking medication in order to cure something like depression, but I guess it just depends on the severity of depression that you may have. For me, and for some people that I've known that have taken antidepressants, I found as though, it actually did more harm than good. And I know that there is like so many other different ways that you can go about in order to feel good about yourself, to feel confident, and to get your self-esteem back, so that you're not feeling depressed, than to take medication. So the first step for me was actually realizing that I needed a change, that something in my life had to change, and anything was pretty much better than being stuck where I was. Like, obviously I wasn't in a good place, so something had to change. And I had to go through a lot of trial and errors and make some really hard and tough decisions in order to bring about those changes in my life. And one of them was getting rid of a few people that were bringing me down, or that weren't really just good people to be around. And it was a tough decision for me at the time. And I found that, once I started to get rid of like negative people and the people that brought me down and that didn't really do anything for me, my life started to change. And that was one really big decision that really affected how I got to where I am today. So two of the things that really helped me get through one of the darkest and toughest points in my life was I actually started praying to God for a better life instead of to take my life. And the second thing is that some of you may know my mother passed away after giving birth to me. And at the lowest points in my life, this may sound weird to some of you, but I've always felt like her presence around me, telling me, not to give up, that this is not the type of life that she wants for me, to like stop crying, to like get up and keep pushing forward no matter how much it hurts. And the way I see it is, she gave birth to me in order to experience this beautiful life. Why am I wasting it? So feeling that she's still around me is sort of really what got me through the toughest times in my life. It was a very tough decision for me to make the decision to want to change and to want something better for myself. And believe me, it took all the strength that I had in me just to keep pushing forward. And I believe that happiness is a choice. Like, no matter how low you're feeling, or no matter how much of a dark place that you may be in right now, happiness is a choice, and we can simply shift our mind into creating happiness for ourselves. It all depends on what we choose to focus on. And I realized that I didn't need anyone's permission or approval to how I should live my life and to do what's best for me. All I had to rely on was myself and to trust in God. And I realized that I was the only one that can get myself out of this, and I'm the only one who can make my life better and give me the happiness that I deserve. Because in order to be able to love other people and do things for other people genuinely, you have to genuinely love and care for yourself. And I found happiness that is inside me. It didn't come from external things or other people. Once you find happiness within yourself, you begin to find peace, and you begin to, not feel like, everything's impossible. All of a sudden, things start to become possible. One of the biggest reasons that I've found in people that have caused their depression is loneliness and the fear of being alone for the rest of their life, or not being able to fit in, or not having anyone's approval or love. And what people don't realize is that you don't need anyone's approval. You don't need anyone to love you or to fit in. Sure, it feels like the best feeling on earth, but you really need to be able to give that to yourself in order for other people to do that. And there's like so many other different reasons why people become depressed. People that I've worked with, have financial issues, relationship issues, or bullying is actually a big one. A lot of people do not know how to handle other people saying stuff about them, or leaving hate comments, or saying really nasty things. But you know what? The moment you start to feel hurt or whatever, you're giving the other person the power to be able to do that. Like with me, I'm sure there's a lot of people that just don't like me for whatever reasons, or want to leave a negative comment or have something bad to say, but I really don't care, and I don't give like people that power to get to me like that, because life is too short, and people that don't have self-esteem issues, that don't have much going for them in their life, they need to bring other people down in order to make themselves feel good. And everybody knows that anyone who is happy, who is successful, who has the life that most of us crave for, they don't have time to waste bringing other people down. They don't need to bring someone down in order to make themselves feel good. Successful people have goals. Happy people have goals. They surround themselves with the right people, and they have the right mindset in order to do what's needed and do what's best for them, without even taking a second thought to start bitching about someone else or leaving a hate comment. Like, happy people just don't do that. So you really need to take some time out for yourself to really think about, why you're feeling depressed. Why does it bother you so much? Or how did you become to be depressed? And the most important question is, what can you do today? Even the smallest thing that you can do today to help bring you back in your happy place again, and to better yourself for your own well-being. Some other questions that I have for you is, why do you need things externally to make you happy? Is it really necessary? Why do you need other people's approval or acceptance in order to be able to fit in and loved? And why can't you be your own reason to meet your own needs and give you the love that you so clearly deserve for yourself? Think about it this way. The way you talk to yourself right now is obviously negative talk. But we need to try and change that to think about, how would you speak to your best friend, or to your parents, or to someone that you love and care about? You would speak to them with love and with care, and you would want the very best for them, and you would try to help them. You would do whatever it takes to see them succeed, to see them happy, to be a change and be a difference in their life. You need to start being your own best friend and doing that for yourself. Being your own coach even. You need to decide, as from today, something needs to change, even the smallest change, because that can make the biggest difference in the world. And you need to make the decision to do something today that will help you in your future. And you really need to get all the strength that you have within you to sort it out right now, because now is all you have. Tomorrow is never guaranteed. And you need to ask yourself, how can you give yourself more love? And how can you really get in touch with who you are and who you want to be? You need to learn how to be happy by yourself. Be happy alone. See, with me, I think, as I said in another video, I'm alone most of the time, but I never feel lonely because I love what I do, and I am so focused and immersed in my work. Keeping yourself really busy in something that you love, something that you're passionate about, does help a lot. And for a lot of you, you're still trying to figure out your life purpose and why you're here. I actually wrote a blog post today called "Why Am I Here?" so you guys should check it out. You really need to just learn to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's not a nice feeling, but the more we start to go through challenging situations and being uncomfortable and having that hard talk with someone that we're trying to avoid, going through things that aren't easy are what's going to help you become stronger and is what going to help you grow. And sooner or later you're going to find yourself that no matter what comes your way, you're ready, you can handle it, you're stronger, you've been through crap like this before and you know better. Some other tips that I have to get over depression is number one, first and foremost, is to spend more time with friends and family. And I know some of you have told me that you have social anxiety or you lack confidence or you lack self-esteem, and believe me, I was this girl. I was this girl for such a very long time. I was so shy. Ask anyone that knows me. I always avoided when it came to social situations as much as possible. I didn't know what to say, how to be, how to act. I was like, what if people don't like me? People are going to judge me, and I felt like I had to live up to a certain expectation. And you know what, I just decided to make the decision not to care what people think, because you know what, the people that love you are going to love you for you. Your friends, your family, whether you're shy, quiet, crazy, loud, whoever you choose to be, the people that you choose to surround yourself with, people that love you and care for you, that motivate you and empower you to be all you can be in this life. It is very important to surround yourself with the right kind of people, and you'll find that over time this will gain confidence within you. And when you start to get confident and you start to put yourself out there more and more, it's going to become uncomfortable the first few times. I was this shy girl to now it's impossible to shut me up. So it just takes time and practice, and before you know it, you'll be the life of the party. So tip number 2 is to try something new. A lot of people that come to me are trying to find, their life purpose. Why am I here? They start doubting themselves that, I'm never going to amount to anything. I'm not good enough, or I don't know what to do with my time. I don't know what to do with myself, my life. They're just waiting for something good to happen to them instead of trying something new. And for me, I tried so many different things, and sometimes you will have to try out so many different things, try a few jobs until you find one that you're really passionate about. Some people are really blessed to already know what they want ever since they were like a baby. But for some of us like me that was pretty much unsure, it took me till I was 30 to realize what I want to do with my life and the type of person I want to be, and how I'm going to start creating my life to be the way I want. So throughout my early 20s, I did everything. I did painting, I did photography, I did fashion design, I did graphic design. I worked for law firms, I worked for Louis Vuitton, I worked for a fashion designer. I was all over the shop, and I just wanted to try everything until I finally found something that really resonated with me. And that's when I started to do counseling, psychology and mentoring, and I just fell in love. And I knew, as people say to you, you just know when you have found the one. And I knew that coaching and mentoring was for me, because I love being able to make a difference to people's lives. Tip number 3 is to be kind to yourself. It is very important how you speak to yourself and how you treat yourself. Remember, as I said before, to treat yourself and speak to yourself like you're your own best friend. It is really important to develop the best relationship you can for yourself and to give yourself the very best that you deserve, which goes on to my tip number 4, is to love yourself unconditionally. You have to be ready to do whatever it takes to give yourself the best possible life that you have while you're still here, and to make a difference to not only someone else's life but to your own life. Like, you are the biggest reason why your life is just going to change dramatically. It can change dramatically if you make that choice. And what I was mentioning before about doing things for your best friend, why not spoil yourself? Why not buy yourself some flowers or buy yourself a gift and show how much you really appreciate you, and learn to really be able to love yourself and be okay with who you are. And you know what, there's always room for improvement. That's why a lot of people get into personal development. It is okay to want to improve yourself and want to work on yourself to be better, to want better, to expect better for yourself. Any successful person will tell you that in order to get where they are today, they had to do a lot of personal development work. The question is, are you ready to step on the other side of fear? And as the quote goes, everything that we could ever possibly want for ourselves is on the other side of fear. The fear of, being disappointed, rejected, what other people think of us. We need to step into our own fear and just face it. Are you ready to accept the challenge that you will no longer let depression rule your life, your emotions, the outcome and the quality of your life and your friendships? Are you ready to step up and take responsibility for whatever happens next? Your decisions, your emotions, you're going to be in control from now on. So I dare you to accept the challenge that if you fall down 100 times, that you will get back up 101 times, and you will fight for yourself, to give yourself the life that you deserve, and that you will make the decision that as from today, depression and sadness and whatever excuse no longer control you and your quality of life. You deserve to give yourself everything that you have ever wanted in this life. And you know what? There's so many resources around you. It's just yours for the taking. You just need to realize that, tough times do not last. Tough people do. And no matter what happens, always remember that this too shall pass.